go, guys. The Millennium Disco Party. B.W. Richard, remember this? Solves all problems. Okay, guys, there it is. There it is in its glory. Let's put this over here. So,
can we finally go clubbing?
We can go clubbing. We measured one or two of the bearings, and they seem to be the same size as that original cam there. So, all we did so far is we lubed the main bearings with engine assembly lube because cam's going to come back out, and we just want to put it in and make sure it fits. So, Junior's going to work on that right about now. I don't have a bolt to add to this. So, that's going to make it a little more challenging. So.
Oh, it's going to be hard because it's going to get heavy.
Yeah, it's going to start to get heavy because I don't have a bolt. I might actually get you something though to put in there. You're doing good with whacking all the bearings. Or lack of whacking them. Maybe you could touch them, you just don't.
I'm trying to see where
Yeah, you don't want to abuse them.
There you go.
And now this is going to be the hardest part. I'm going to pause for 1 second and let you rest that down. Just rest it down gently.
I'm not liking that screwdriver. Oh, wait. There.
Don't get your glove stuck in there like I did the first time.
You mean like that?
You just did, see? See, guys? I did the same thing.
Does it?
You know, it's so slippery, you're not going to be able to turn it past that point.
What do you mean? Does it need to turn?
You're good. Leave it just like that. I'm going to turn this off a second. Okay, guys, he got it in. He got it in. Just want to clean out a little bit in there, meaning just a couple speckles of things that have fallen in there. Then, like I said, we'll pull it back out. We'll coat everything. We'll get the lifters in, and we'll get a push rod adjustment. I have that one comms cam one. I don't know if this is going to be too long or just the right size. Seems to be the same size as the stock one. So we'll work on it from there, and then it's full assembly. If anybody's interested what cam we chose, I'm going to just seal this thing up and lay it on there. Hold on. So this is for the people that are interested. I know people on the AMC forum want this card to add to their list. We have some very talented, well-educated cam guys there. We're blessed. And they have actual cam charts. I've talked about this but never did it. After this goes on there, I'm going to present one of them to you. Basically what I did was, I had found the cam I wanted. We discussed this already. And when I found the cam I wanted, I presented it to him with the heads that I have and the compression ratio. And he came back with a chart of, I'd have to look at it. I'm going to guesstimate 25, 30 cams. Okay, and in that chart, he lists the cams, lists the part numbers. He lists the lift, the gross lift. He lists the gross duration. He lists. Can't say the word. The lift at 6 thousandths, meaning starting at 6. He lists the duration at 50 thousandths. He does lobe separation. He triangulates lobe separation, which is pretty cool. And he does dynamic compression ratios. So by me telling him what cam I had, what cylinder heads I had, okay, and obviously the cubic inches and the compression ratio, he was able to come back to me and tell me what my dynamic compression ratio was going to be. And he actually sent me, when I originally picked the ComCams 280, well, it was the choice between the ComCams 280 and the Lunati. He sent me 2 graphs, okay, showing, actual graphs, showing the lift and duration, the flow. It was actually pretty cool. And then he overlays them, and he shows you that the Lunati cam had X amount more lift, but there was zero benefit in flow. It was there was a difference, not zero benefit. I stand correct. It was only like 1 to 3% or something. So what you saw is another 50, 60 thousandths in lift wasn't as beneficial as you thought it was going to be. But with that said, when I told him I was going back to the Schneider group, if you want to word it like that, back to home ground, that's the only cam he does not have information on. So he will be getting this cam card, and hopefully some of the information here will help him. This is the cam we chose, the LSP 58H. Okay, here are some of the specs. Okay, it's cut on a 110. It's a hydraulic cam, 512 on the lift, 284, 294, 320 at the lobe by 1.6, obviously. It just started to pour, guys. We have a wicked storm ready to hit. 224, 234, and some of the things that you find interesting is you look at the actual duration at 50 thousandths, then you look at the overall duration, and you could see this is 230 and 294. Comms cam was 230 at 280. Okay, so that tells you, in relationship with your lift, that tells you your ramp speed. This ramp speed off the bat is a tad bit slower, and tad bit slower I like, because this isn't a motor that's going to be driven on the weekends. Junior's going to use this car every day, not every day. Start it up, use it, go, whatever it's going to be. It's going to be a little lumpy, but it should be fine. Okay, they also tell you what they want for open, closed, and they give you a setup here for dual springs, which we are not running. We have a spring and a damper that land right about there. So, definitely not running the dual springs. There you go, guys. A second ago, it was dry outside when I was facing that way. Definitely needed rain, let me tell you. And this is the information you need if you're going to degree in the cam. So this is what it is. If anybody's interested in the Schneider Cam, you could always look this one up. Okay. Obviously, it's for an AMC. They're different for Chevys and Fords and Mopars. They do a lot of custom grinding. They always have. They say it's somewhere. I think they've been around since the 50s. So, if anything else, the customer service is top notch. Top notch. So if I'm going to give you a comparison right now of a comp cams and a Schneider cams, Schneider's going to win hands down just on customer service. Now, am I strapping these motors to a dyno? No. If there's a difference in 10, 15 horsepower, does it matter to me? No. We're not racing. We're not trying to make any money. Okay, the cam was ground well. I just didn't have time to videotape it. Me and Junior just went into a whole, almost 2-hour-long lesson, okay, on everything you see here, what everything means and why it does it. So, and he actually listened and learned because I quizzed him at the end. So, what was I going to say? It was, the cam's ground nice. The journals look like they're supposed to look. They didn't look like a record. I measured only 1 or 2 of them real quick, because I figured if I measured 1 or 2 of them, we'd just go for it. And I came up with the same measurements of that original AMC cam that was in this engine. So we went for it. And it fits just the way it should. The camshaft should have a very slight resistance on it. Very, very slight. You should be able to turn it by hand. We should have slight resistance. They're only calling for 1/1000th clearance across 5 bearings. And when you use regular assembly lube, like I just used, not the stuff that they give you, which we're going to be using, okay, which is going to wind up on there. But when I use that GM assembly lube, that stuff is very thick, guys. It's like gear oil, and it's like glue. So you got to understand, you're not putting synthetic oil in there and just winging the thing around with your fingers. Okay, when it stops, you could feel the resistance, the braking force to get it free again with your hands. But by no means is it dragging. So this is their actual stuff. Who makes it? I don't know. So, but I like it because it's thick. So, I know the comms cam stuff was like water. So this is actually supposed to be pretty good stuff. They also sell 3 different products. Whether we're going to buy it or not, I'm not sure. But they talk about it, the 3 different formulas. If anybody wants to freeze this and read it, they can. If you could see it. And this stuff here, this Formula 3, the only reason I'm bringing this up, oh man, it's not the tour. I remember going back a long time ago, anybody remembers B&G, which stands for Bearing and Gear. I actually have the insignia, so if anybody sees the insignia, they might recognize them. B&G products. I remember them coming to my shop and doing a demonstration. This was a long time ago. And they had a bearing out of a roller bearing. And it had a grinding wheel. And it was hooked to a thing, and when they rested it on there, it would just grind and spark. Then they coated it with whatever formula they had. You know, they rotated the bearing a little bit, put it back on there, and they were putting weights on it. And it wasn't wearing away. And that sounds exactly what number 3 sounds like to me. They say it bonds to the metal and does whatever, and that you cannot put this in until a motor is broken in. Which, as you guys know, you have to seat the rings. If you don't seat the rings in the beginning, you're in for a world of hurt as time goes on. But with that said, this is a very basic video, because the premise of this, or the premise of today, was for me to educate my son. So now he can go watch videos and see what he thinks of what I said. The premise was to educate my son and to inspect the cam and make sure it fit. So obviously the cam's coming back out. We're going to get into a lot more detail than this. It's going to be, I guess, 2 more phases to it, because I got to take it out. I want to do what I got to do. We got to prep it, get the lifters in, then we'll get a push rod adjustment. Then we've got to order the push rods. And while we're doing that, we'll start getting everything ready. We'll get the front cover on. We'll start assembling. We'll start painting and assembling. I got to do, the pulleys or whatever it is. So I think this video is long enough, guys. It is raining. So the lawn looks good. So yeah, we've been in, I call it a drought. It's only rained like once in like the last 3 weeks. Twice maybe, if that. So I'm surprised my grass is green. So with that, guys, that's it for today.